Hey, I'm Paul. Today we're going to have a look at the Demibu by Phil Grace. All right, what's the Demibu all about? Well, essentially what we're talking about is a longboard that's been chopped in half, and we've taken out that middle section. So essentially we've got all of the factors of a longboard, which make it easy to surf and paddle and catch a lot of waves with, but without all of that length. So maybe you live somewhere where you've got a bit of a long walk down, you don't want to carry a longboard, maybe you just want something a little bit easier to move around in the lineup with. The Demibu offers you the best of both worlds. All right, let's take a look at that outline. And as you can see, what we're talking about is a pretty wide and full nose area. So a longboard style template in that nose area. If you do want to get up on the nose, get those toes over, there's enough volume there for you to do that. In the tail, again, a pretty wide tail that just pulls in sweetly into this little diamond tail. And what that gives us through the middle is quite straight, sort of parallel edge. And what that means essentially is real speed in terms of your paddling and your wave catching. Also, as soon as you get up to your feet and trimming, a ton of down the line speed. Okay, let's talk about that rail and see what Gracie's done here. So taking a little bit of that meat off from that middle of the board. So a nice little roll on that. It is nice and refined. So you will be able to get those smooth bottom turn to carving combinations on this board, as well as that beautiful trim and hold. Okay, well, no real surprises in terms of the rocker profile. It is a small wave design for kind of underpowered, softer waves. So not a ton of curve throughout this board. We've got a little bit of flip up in the nose just to stop that wide nose from catching, so you can make those drops and do those maneuvers. Otherwise, we've got a pretty continual and kind of smooth curve throughout. It's pretty flat, and that's all about that speed. Okay, should we check some bottom contours from the Demibu? So we're going from V up through the front part of the board, through that belly, which has a bit of concave running through the fins. But that V basically throughout the bottom of this board, and then again out through the tail. We've got quite a bit of V there. You can hear my straight edge rocking, with some concave through it as well. So the idea of that V, if you imagine that stringer sits slightly lower in the water, and the idea is to make it easy for you to get all of that volume, all of that board going from rail to rail. Gracie's designed this one specifically to be a thruster. There's a pretty good reason for that. You've got quite a bit of foam there. There's quite a lot of surfboard in not that much length. And what the thruster does, it's going to give you that really reliable, kind of grippy feel, but also loose enough to take it wherever you want to go on the wave. In terms of the dimensions, this one's a 7.0, so pretty typical for the Demibu. That's a kind of a classic length. They do go a bit shorter than that, but that's a pretty nice sort of area. In terms of the length, that's going to be 22.25 wide, and that's just shy of 50 litres, 49.3. So you got a load of foam there. That means a load of float. That means you're paddling, catching a load of waves. You're going really fast and trimming with ease. If the surf's a little bit lackluster, you've got plenty of board beneath you to have fun with. The Demibu from Phil Grace, something a little bit different. Reminds us of the sort of mini tanker designs you maybe used to get in Hawaii in the 80s. For summer waves, for small waves, maybe you don't like longboarding, you don't necessarily want to be walking up and down the board. Maybe you don't want to go into a fish or a groveler. The Demibu offers you something completely different, a brand new, fresh sensation for smaller waves.